Thank you. Thank you, Urs, for this introduction. Dear families, friends, alumni, INSEAD faculty and staff, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the graduation ceremony for the MBA class of 2018D. Especially, I want to welcome our graduates because this day is about you. Today is the beginning. It is not the end of your relationship with INSEAD, because you are the INSEAD of the future. Today, you may think that you are leaving INSEAD, but in fact, you'll stay with INSEAD for the rest of your life. Today, you become INSEAD. As our graduates, we believe that INSEAD has helped you prepare to embrace your new role in the world, whether as a disruptor, a transformational change agent, or an outstanding leader. But most importantly, I hope, INSEAD has prepared you to be a force for good in the world. You saw the video about the history of the school, about Georges Doriot and how he conceived the idea of INSEAD. What is very important also to understand from that video is that Georges Doriot did not only want to bring management education to Europe, but he viewed INSEAD as a place where we can promote peace and prosperity by bringing people together from many different countries, and today from all over the world. From day one, our school was different. And in fact, if you notice on the video, the signage in the beginning was in 3 languages, English, French, and German. Because to study at INSEAD in the beginning, you had to speak these 3 languages fluently. The marketing course could be in French, operations in German, economics in English. And the idea was that INSEAD from day one was supposed to be and was an international school. Georges Doriot had very important values that somehow he managed to transmit to our school. He is actually considered to be the father of venture capital because he was the first one to start a venture capital firm. And he started it with a very noble idea. He noticed in 1946 that a lot of soldiers who came back from the war did not have jobs. Some of them had ideas. And he decided, let me raise a fund to fund these ideas. Over the next 60 years, the school has managed to retain this original DNA of inclusion, of tolerance, of diversity. And when you look at the history of the school, we have gone a long way. From graduating 52 students in 1960, today we're the largest MBA program in the world. But not only this, we created a lot of first things in the world. We were pioneers with the first MBA in Europe, with the first one-year MBA in the world, with the first company-specific programs, with the first online company-specific programs, and so on. So they're great achievements. But the big question today is, what is next? What do we do in the future? And today, we actually face a lot of challenges. In many of my speeches, I talk about the mission of INSEAD. INSEAD is a mission-driven school. We're not part of a university. We're not part of a governmental structure. We're not owned by anybody. We are a stand-alone business school. We are driven by our mission. And our mission is based on the idea that business has to be a force for good. And business as a force for good has 2 different interpretations at least. One, the narrow one, basically states that if you want to eradicate poverty, to increase human development, improve the state of the world, then you need economic growth. And the engine of economic growth is business creation. You look at China in 1980, there were 840 million people who lived in extreme poverty of less than $1.90 a day. Today, there are fewer than 20 million people in that situation. This is a miracle that had never happened in the history of the world before, where in the entire world more than 1.3 billion people have been lifted out of extreme poverty in a matter of 40 years. And when you think what really happened, this miracle happened not because of government subsidies, not because of foreign developmental aid from the World Bank, but because of one thing, and that is economic growth. And the only engine of economic growth is business creation and business innovation. So this is the narrow interpretation, which sounds really great, and if this was the whole story, then our mission is very simple. Attract smart, bright people like 18D, and make sure that they go out and they deliver by creating new companies, making companies more efficient, and so on. Unfortunately, this is not the whole story. In the last 20 years, we have seen tensions between business and society increasing. And they have been increasing because of the side effects that businesses create, because of the so-called externalities, because of behavior of some companies, and so on. Today, in fact, 60% of the population believes that CEOs are driven only by greed, according to Edelman Trust Barometer. So we have to ask the question, what can we do in order to make sure that business is a force for good in a broader sense? To answer this question, INSEAD decided to create a few months back an Institute for Business and Society where we focus on research on ethics, on social impact, sustainability, gender equality, and so on and so forth. All these other areas where business has effect, but it is outside of their main area of work. Now, the more important objective of the Institute for Business and Society is to change mindsets. We have an extremely ambitious goal. We want not to change only INSEAD, we want not to change only management education, we want to change the world. And we believe that we can, because we have to change social norms that today are acceptable, but 10, 20, 30 years from now, I'm certain they will not be acceptable. In 2014-15, I read this book by Yuval Harari, called Sapiens. I'm sure that many of you have read it. And I realized how stuck we are in our beliefs of what is an objective reality and what is an imagined reality. In fact, we have a lot of social constructs, a lot of social norms that we believe are written in stone, only to see them change 40, 50 years later. So let me read a little bit from his book, from Sapiens. Ever since the cognitive revolution, sapiens have been living in a dual reality. On the one hand, the objective reality of trees, rivers, and lions, and on the other hand, the imagined reality of gods, nations, and corporations. As time went by, the imagined reality became ever more powerful, so that today, the very survival of rivers, trees, and lions depends on the grace of imagined entities such as the United States and Google. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the normal today that will not be acceptable tomorrow? How come that 60 years ago, 55 years ago, when you come to INSEAD, you will see only men in the classroom, and today this is unacceptable? What are the next set of social norms that we need to change in order to move forward? What is the normal that is changing? We, the society, want business leaders who not only create phenomenally successful companies, but ones that in this process create the value for the society and maximize their social impact. And yes, there are companies like this, and today we are fortunate to have here one of the leaders of a company like this. But because of all these demands, all of you matter today. Now, in closing, I must charge you with a call to action for INSEAD. It is very tempting at this point to give some advice, some inspirational phrases like aim high, challenge yourself, distinguish yourself, aim higher, aim highest. be the best version of yourself, even aim highest, and so on. But I will try to refrain from this. Still, I want to say a couple of things. Three things actually. The first one is that we are facing a lot of challenges today. And sometimes people are very discouraged by these challenges. You can go to conferences where everything is gloomy and everything is going down the drain and will burn in hell. Or you can actually be inspired by these challenges and address them. In March 2016, AlphaGo, the computer program developed by Google's DeepMind, managed to beat one of the world's leading masters of the Asian game of Go. Lee Sedol was one of the leading masters of Go, and he lost 4 out of 5 games. What is interesting about these games is that in the second game, AlphaGo performed a move that caught by surprise all the experts watching the game. They were puzzled. Why would the computer make this move? That was known later as move 37. Only after several moves later, everybody realized what the computer was doing. It was something that was qualified as 1 in 10,000 probability of happening. In game 4, Lee Sedol was behind in the game until he played his move 78. And again, the experts were surprised. That move made no sense initially, only to see how Lee Sedol actually won that game. And when he was interviewed, what actually inspired him to move this piece in this way? And he said that actually the computer doing move 37 was very inspirational for him. We assume that artificial intelligence will challenge us in a way and probably we won't be able to respond. But human mind has unbelievable capacity to learn and innovate. So my challenge to you is always try to find your move 78. Second, INSEAD is a business school for the world. I must ask each one of you to determine how will you make INSEAD your own. How will you specifically, uniquely, individually contribute to the mission of making business as a force for good in the world? We are a different business school, mission-driven with strong values. We want you to be values-driven leaders. We want the world to admire you not only for what you have done for the bottom line of your company, but to admire you also for what you have done to make the world a better place. And third, I'm asking each one of you to become true ambassadors for INSEAD and for all that INSEAD represents. You have spent 1 year at INSEAD. You know what we stand for. As one of our alumni in his graduation speech mentioned, we have seen what the world can be like. Now we have to go out there and make it like this. So stand up for inclusion, diversity, tolerance, friendships. And while some governments are building walls, we want you to build bridges. To sum up, be inspired by challenges, find your move 78, be smart, humble, integrate societal challenges in the strategy of your company, be a proud ambassador of INSEAD and our values. Let us continue to champion diversity because it is the key to strengthening individuals, businesses, institutions, and society. Let us promote peace and prosperity for every individual, community, and country in the world. We are proud that you made your MBA here at INSEAD. I have no doubt that the class of 2018D will change the world for the better and will contribute much to the prominence of our alumni and our school, which from now on you can call your own. You are INSEAD. You are not only alumni now. You are our partners in this magical journey called INSEAD. Congratulations, thank you, and good luck. Thank you.
I now have the pleasure to introduce our graduation speaker, Hubert Sagnier, MBA 86J, Executive Vice Chairman of Essilor-Luxottica. Essilor-Luxottica is the 50 billion euro market cap product of a newly merged Italian and French company, Essilor and Luxottica, both operating in the vision industry, one more in frames and the other one more on lenses. Before the merger, Hubert was chairman and CEO of Essilor since 2012. He joined the company in 1989 as president of international marketing. He served as president of Essilor in Canada and later America before becoming COO and then CEO. Essilor has been providing lenses to 1 billion of the 2 billion people who have corrected lenses, but that was not enough. And Hubert is really a champion to provide access to better vision for less privileged people and made this part of the vision of his company. And we look forward to hearing more about this as it fits really with INSEAD's mission as a business as a force for good. Please help me welcome Hubert Sagnier, 86J. Thank you.